Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Disney Deconstructed podcast. I'm your host, Lane Calder. Today, I'm joined, as always, by my good friends Jake Mooney.
Yo.
And Spencer Bennett.
What's up, y'all? Happy August.
It is. It's August 1st when we're recording this. Happy August. We made it through July, so we lived another month. But today we're going to be talking about movies. Again, if you listen to the last episode, you know that we did parks on that episode, and this episode we are doing movies/TV, just to kind of catch up from our summer break. So we've got a lot on the docket, as the politicians say. Basically everything's getting delayed, so we'll talk like a little bit about that, but I guess there's not that much to say when things are just not going to happen for a while. Avatar 2 and Star Wars, some news there. Artemis Fowl came out while we were away, and apparently it was really bad. Who saw that coming? HBO Max and Peacock came out, so we'll talk about that in comparison to Disney Plus and possible like competition there. HBO Max came out. Hamilton released on Disney Plus.
It was July 3rd. It was like the day before 4th of July.
It was around 4th of July. A new Pixar movie was announced, which is called Luca. Takes place in Italy, like the coast of Italy, I believe. Lots of people are making fun of it because it sounds like Call Me by Your Name. New Mutants, and then there's a new Muppet show that just started streaming. We have not watched it, but we'll talk about it. And then there's just kind of a bunch of Star Wars shit that's blowing up on the internet, as always. But we'll talk about what everyone is saying, and then we'll give our picks of the week, which we didn't do last week, by the way.
Just realized that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were so caught up in all the park news that I think we just forgot to do it.
It was just so exciting last week.
Yeah, we were just so
we just
pumped
got caught up in it.
We were just so pumped to be back. So we'll get to that at the end.
We recommended everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with these delays. I think the main one that was announced was that Mulan, which obviously had its premiere in when was it? March, right?
Probably
late February, early March, somewhere in there.
And I mean, since then, no one has seen it besides the people who went to the premiere. But it has not come out, hasn't released on Disney Plus or anything. I think it was a couple weeks ago, Disney announced that Mulan is indefinitely delayed. Something we were all kind of expecting, I think. What do you remember when the original release date was?
I do, just because
March
it was
27th.
Wait, that was the original.
The original, but then they moved it.
Yeah, they moved it to July 24th. The only reason I remember that is because it's my brother's birthday. But yeah, when they said July 24th, I was like, really? Like, we think we're going to be ready to go to movie theaters in July?
See, I thought it sounded too far off from March.
Wow,
really?
I
think we'll be back. I kept saying the parks would open in June, man. I was dying
Yeah,
on that.
You were on
almost
that
did.
June train.
I was on the June train, and here it is August, and there's still no Disneyland.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was the main one that got delayed to June, and then just obviously did not come out. And so now it is just indefinitely delayed. No word on whether or not it's going to be moved to Disney Plus or not. That would be I feel like that would be kind of weird because some people got to see it at the premiere, and then it would be like a Netflix thing where like The Irishman is in theaters for a week and then moves. But I mean, I guess it's just the shittiness of the situation. So those Mulan, Black Widow, I believe, was also delayed indefinitely. I have to imagine it was because my opinion is that I don't feel like it would do well if it released on Disney Plus. I feel like a lot of people would watch it, and I think we talked about this a little bit before recording. I feel like people would watch it and they would probably even get some more Disney Plus subscribers since Marvel fan base and whatnot, and that hasn't been filled up too much on Disney Plus. there's just a lot of things in the works, and I feel like they would just lose a lot of that movie revenue. Spencer, you had a thought on this before the show.
On if Black Widow going on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I think in the case of like Artemis Fowl, which went straight to Disney Plus after being planned to theatrically release, Artemis Fowl was delayed for like, it felt like 2 years. We just kept everyone forgot it was even coming out. We got a trailer and then there wasn't much excitement, and then it just kept getting pushed and kept getting pushed and kept getting pushed.
Yeah, I think it was originally, I don't know if it was originally, but I remember the trailers that I saw said August, I believe.
I think the writing on the wall was there for that movie, which was it was going to be another Wrinkle in Time type of film where it just wasn't going to do well. We've talked about that at length on the show.
Yeah,
which executive keeps greenlighting those movies?
The one Disney movie per year that is just super not Disney.
Right.
Yeah. But I think with
it was going to be the Holy Trinity. It was going to be the Holy Trinity of un-Disney movies. It was going to be Nutcracker, Wrinkle in Time, and then
Artemis Fowl.
Artemis Fowl. But yeah, maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
In the case of that one, it made sense that they were like, okay, we're not going to really have any new content on here for a while. We've been sitting on this movie for God knows how long. They have written it off at that point, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Disney was kind of like, we're just this is a wash anyway. Let's just put it up there and see if we can get an extra boost to sales on Disney Plus. In the case of Black Widow, I don't think it was going to make $1 billion, but it was a contender. It's a Marvel movie. And
absolutely.
Post-Endgame Marvel movie where a lot of people don't know the direction that's going. It could have set up a lot of, in a lot of little hints for what's coming next, what they're going to adapt next in the MCU, like which arc they're going to go for. So I just don't see them doing it to Disney Plus. Mulan, maybe. I never thought they would, but at this point, I'm like, maybe. Because with Mulan, first of all, I don't know if the hype was that big for Mulan, because I know it was going to be radically different from the animation. There wasn't going to be any music. I don't think Mushu was even in it, if not going to be like Iago in the live-action Aladdin, where he has like 3 lines. Like it wasn't going to be a significant character. So in the case of Mulan, they very well might put it on Disney Plus. They might just do it for the extra boost, because that would get them a boost. It would, I think.
Right. Especially when you consider like the sheer amount of, what was it, like just weird news that was surrounding the production of Mulan, whether true or rumored, and just a lot of. I remember there's a whole controversy around the main actress on her stance on the events in Hong Kong.
Yeah, right.
And like there's just a lot of weird things going on behind that movie's production and promotion. So I wouldn't be totally surprised if it pops up on Disney Plus, because especially when you consider like a lot of things that we're going to be talking about are being moved back by indefinitely or a year, and eventually that schedule is going to get a bit crowded, because they're still doing Pinocchio, right? And
supposedly,
and I mean they announced Peter and Wendy, right? We talked about that, I think.
The only thing with that though is like it will get crowded because they're pushing everything, but as far as I know, nothing's in production. Like nothing big can be shooting, so there is going to be a gap of, we've put out all the things that we have, but there's a year or so where we weren't able to like make anything. So I don't know if that's
Notre Dame is another one.
Right, that was another one.
Yes. I just fact-checked us. Black Widow actually got delayed to November 6th, but now we can discuss whether it's going to come out.
Yeah, November. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, some November news that has literally couldn't have less to do with Disney, but Target and Walmart both were like, we're going to like close our stores on Black Friday because they're like worried about crowds. So those two giant corporations are concerned about November. I don't know. I mean, I just have a hard time believing that we're going to be ready, even if there's a vaccine and things are really like looking on the up and up, just like on a personal basis. Like, do I feel like I want to go sit in this movie theater right now? Even if it was for Infinity War, which was like my hypest movie of all time. It's like, I could just wait a couple months for like the health of myself and my family. Like it just feels stressful. For November, that sounds so, I mean, I wish. I also saw some other news. I don't remember which studio it was. It was not Disney, but somebody like greenlit similar to like a movie that was done and had been delayed and delayed. It was like an action movie. I want to say like a Jason Bourne or something is coming out overseas. Like it's full on having its premiere in like parts of Asia, Europe. Like the movie's coming out and we just can't get it because we can't get it
they're
theaters yet.
releasing the SpongeBob movie in Canada only.
Wow.
Oh,
this
really?
year. Yeah.
That's
the one with
crazy.
Keanu.
Mm-hmm. Not Disney at all, but just weird movie release.
I did kind of like that one though. I thought it looked cool. I just like
Yeah.
SpongeBob though.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I really like the art style that they.
That's
went
what I was
for.
gonna say. But something like grander picture, which I wonder, in terms of like the future of movies, if you know, there's just going to be a bigger push to put things just straight to streaming, or if we're really going to try to get movies back in theaters, because obviously theater experience is going to happen regardless of if it's like perfectly safe or not. Like they're not going to put out a Star Wars movie not in theaters. They're not going to put out this new Avatar movie and things like that. But I remember hearing months and months ago, before pandemic was a thing, where I want to say Netflix made a deal with like Eddie Murphy, like a very big comic who like hadn't done a special in like many, many years. And I heard people like on a podcast talking like this might be Netflix's first like premium. So you have to have a Netflix subscription, whether you have the baseline one or the expensive one. But then if you want to watch this very big special, it's like an extra $1 to watch the thing, or you like unlock it. And I thought that was like, if they do that, like Netflix is done for, because all of their licensed stuff within the next year or so is just going to go to, whether it's Disney Plus or HBO Max, Peacock, it's all going to go back to the studios. So Netflix is just sitting here with their originals. Some are great, some are not. But then I'm going to have to pay an extra $2 when I'm already paying, $7 for everything else. Never would work. But now that there's no movie theaters and Disney is sitting on a movie like Black Widow, sitting on a movie like Mulan, sitting on Jungle Cruise for the sake of argument.
Jungle Cruise got delayed till next year.
Right. But it's like at a certain point, if we really have no idea, even if it's only 6 months, even if they're like movie theaters are going to be open in 6 months, but I mean like the stock numbers and like everything speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean,
why not do a premium? Why not put one of these big movies out and be like, it's an extra $2, make it an extra $3, and it's just like renting a movie like normal. People do that all the time.
Well, what they did with Scoob, what Warner Brothers did with Scoob was they just put it out for $20 rental, and I rented it with some friends, and we spent like $8 a person, and that was cheaper than going to the movies. Scoob sucked. Well, actually, Scoob was weird. Scoob was weird. Scoob conversation aside, they could do that. I think they'd more likely do that with Mulan, because I think in the grand picture, they probably do lose a little bit of money doing that. And I think they're more inclined to lose money on Mulan than they would be on a Black Widow.
I see.
And Disney's banking on November too, because I love that I'm fact checking us mid-show. But Soul is now scheduled for November as well too. So Disney's banking on November. I don't think that either of those movies are going to come out in November. I'm just going to be real. I don't think so.
I have a hard time believing it. Maybe in
even
some
if we're
parts
like on
of the country.
Up and up, I think we've learned, especially in California, I think we've learned that we should not rush reopening, because it's infinitely worse than it was before now.
I can believe the idea that you go on Disney Plus, you pay a few extra dollars for Mulan or whatever, because I mean it's kind of just recycling what HBO did like in the very beginning of HBO with their with wrestling and boxing and whatnot. And so like it would make sense, and it's already a proven method of doing things. So I could see that happening. Spencer, I was going to bring up the same point that you ended up bringing up about how Amazon Prime instantly launched their like Amazon Premiere at Home or whatever it was called, and
Prime Cinema.
Prime Cinema. And you could definitely, I mean, Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu could definitely just steal from that that method and just make it their own. Right. Speaking of Hulu movies, I watched Palm Springs recently, and it was very good, very good.
I liked it. Yeah, I also enjoyed it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, very fun. A fun little modern take on the whole Groundhog Day situation. But yeah, I guess that's my endorsement of a movie that has nothing to do with Disney. But yeah,
I will say on the thing though, on doing a premium, I did get Peacock. I have not even watched anything on it yet, but I downloaded the app and I made an account and whatever, mostly because it's free. And I thought that was like a really interesting way to do this kind of thing. And, you know, just to see like literally the interface and what they have on there or not. Anyways, the thing is free. That's one of their bigger selling points. And they have some big movies on there that are free to watch, like Jurassic Park, all of the Matrix movies, like some Tarantino movies, a lot of the Hitchcock movies. So that's cool. And you know, you got to sit through ads every once in a while, but that totally works for me. But then there are a bunch of movies on there that have like these little feathers on like, you know, the top corner of the icon. And that's the ones that like you have to have the premium account. But the premium account, I want to say, is $4.99. And I know, so Shrek, which is something I was looking forward to watching because I knew it was DreamWorks and all the DreamWorks stuff is on Peacock. So it's like, okay, well, I can either rent Shrek on Amazon or Apple or whatever for $3.99, or get Peacock for $1 more and then unlock everything for the whole month instead of spending the $3.99 and just watching it once and having it be over with. So if Peacock is already doing that, basically, Netflix apparently kicked around the idea. HBO, like you were saying, had done that in the past. I mean, it's an unprecedented thing, but if you have these movies that were fully intending on going to theaters, like the world is changing, and I think it makes sense. Also, the fact that Disney Plus is the cheapest out of all. I mean, it's not free like Peacock, but it was cheaper than all the other streamings. So it's like, I would do it. I wasn't even that excited for Mulan, but like it'd just be a fun thing to do on a Friday when you can't do anything. Spend $2 to watch the movie that was going to go to theaters.
Right,
Totally
especially with everyone's current social life, which is there is none. If you're following the rules, then I think a lot of people would do like a Disney Plus party or like a Netflix party situation where they do like virtual streaming and you watch Mulan together from your own homes. Why not? You know, like there's
and
nothing
they
else to
literally
do.
have so many movies like banked. Like, so another one, New Mutants. This thing has been in like production hell for
Every
the
trailer
longest
looks
time.
better for that movie.
Dude, it looks great, but who knows what the thing is actually going to be. I just know it's been hell. I know it's not connecting to the MCU at all. I know they're retconning, or that, you know, they're going to bring X-Men into Marvel somehow in the near future. So this movie ultimately should just be like cool and fun and hopefully a little
I
bit
thought they were
scary.
going to drop it on Disney Plus the minute they
Dude,
acquired
why
Fox.
wouldn't they?
I
know,
thought it
me
was
too.
going to be like a here. But maybe they think it's good and they're sitting on it because it could make profit.
I guess so.
Yeah, I also, because it's supposed to be like kind of scary, I feel like they would rather drop it on Hulu.
Oh, yeah, I see that. But they've been putting the X-Men movies on Disney Plus, and those are darker, at least, than Marvel.
Yeah,
they're no darker than the Avengers films, though.
Yeah,
I guess so.
This New Mutants one, the New Mutants sounds like kind of.
It's an actual. I think it's rated R.
Yeah,
it's directed like a horror film,
a Logan level thing. It's like if Logan was a horror movie. It sounds like. But so yeah, I feel like they would probably shy away from Disney Plus, which is supposed to be like the family stuff.
True.
Although Mandalorian is also kind of dark sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. Avatar 2 and Star Wars were delayed by 1 year respectively. They were both delayed by 1 year. I think, what was the original release year for Avatar 2? Is it 2022?
That's what I was going to ask.
I think it's 2023 now.
Yeah, I think
so it was originally 22. Damn, so 2 years from now it was supposed to come out? That's still a long time.
Yeah, dude, the first one came out in 2009.
Actually, wow. I think I want to, because I thought I remembered that the next Star Wars movie was supposed to be 2022.
Oh, actually Avatar 2 was supposed to come out in December of this year, but it got delayed.
Okay.
What a bummer. That's exactly what I was worried about. What a bummer. I want to see this movie so badly. That sucks.
Yeah, even if it sucks, I want to see Avatar 2 because it's been so long.
So
it's been so long.
I'm only excited because of Pandora.
Yeah.
Right. Well, exactly.
I would not be excited at all if I hadn't rewatched the movie on the airplane after leaving Pandora and I went, oh, I actually do enjoy this world.
Right.
And it's underwater, so I'm interested to see what it's going to be like. But
the whole movie's underwater?
Apparently, yeah.
Whoa.
Avatar 2.
That's awesome.
The rumored title is like The Way of Water or something.
So sick. I would love for it to just be called Avatar : So Avatar 2 makes it. It just reminds me that I barely remember the first movie.
Avatar 2 : a Moana ripoff. But yeah, so they're both delayed by a year. I mean, I don't think Star Wars is gonna hurt by taking one more year of a break because yeah, exactly. People are gonna be,
I think it's a good thing.
Even more excited when it comes back. Plus we're getting so much Star Wars shit on Disney Plus. It's great.
Star Wars fatigue is real though. It's one of those franchises that if you overdo it, people are like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm not in
absolutely.
So what was that I mean, it's not announced.
It was untitled. The rumor was it was going to be like the High Republic, and it was going to be like the old, like hundreds of years before the prequel.
Well, that was going to be like that wasn't going to be visual.
No, I don't know if that's happening anymore, Jake.
The High Republic was like going to be a series of comics and graphic novels and book novels that all took place in this era of the High Republic. I don't think that they were planning any TV shows for it or any movies related to it. But who knows? Maybe they were just like, oh, we're going to introduce this era and then make a movie that's based in that era as well, so people are already kind of familiar with it.
Right, but they marketed The Last Skywalker or The Rise of Skywalker as like the end. So there's really only nowhere to go but back.
Yes. Nowhere to go but back or to a different galaxy or something, they got to change shit up. So I think it's definitely possible that the next thing could be the next movie, and I mean like big movie. The next big Star Wars movie could be in that era.
Is it a trilogy? Or it's just like a one shot? It's a trilogy?
I'm pretty sure it's a trilogy that's coming up.
But it's not the Rian Johnson trilogy.
I'm pretty sure that's yet to be announced. Like they haven't announced anything in relation to it. Who's directing?
It was just fully an untitled or unannounced Star Wars thing.
Rian Johnson continues to say that they're still working on his trilogy and developing it. But obviously that's yet to be heard of, especially since Corona. So a lot of people, I think, theorize that the next movie could be the first in the Rian Johnson trilogy, or it could just be some completely different thing. They did announce that. Didn't they announce that Taika Waititi and someone else were going to do a movie?
Yes, they were going to do a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, so Taika Waititi and then another director. I can't remember
that.
I can't remember her name. I believe it's a her. But I was less familiar with her than I was with Taika Waititi.
She was from Mandalorian, though, right? Like she directed like 2 of the episodes.
Oh, I think you're right.
I think I know what you're talking about.
But so they, as a duo, are making a Star Wars movie. They didn't say which one it was going to be or when it was going to be released or whatever. So a lot of people are also like, that has to be the next one.
I see.
We were gonna probably get more info at Star Wars Celebration, but I'm pretty sure that's been canceled. Or at least
I'm sure.
Maybe happening
it's online and is going to be super muted.
Yeah. So it might be a bit of a what was it, Spencer? The Comic-Con at home?
Yeah, the Comic-Con at home that happened over the last week. There was something. I remember something happened during last week, and I was like, man, the universe just feels off. And I looked it up, and I was like, it's because Comic-Con was supposed to be happening.
Wow.
This is a real blow to the nerd community that Comic-Con is not happening. And that's why I feel weird, because I feel like I should be full of jubilation and excitement during this week, and instead I'm sad.
Refreshing my phone all the time. I remember, I guess it was Comic-Con last year. That's when they were announcing like a lot of the new Marvel news, because Endgame has just come out. It's when they were announcing like Shang-Chi and like all of the new things. I was so when they announced the Doctor Strange multiverse of madness. I was so excited over all that stuff.
Yeah.
And now we haven't even seen Black Widow. Just sitting somewhere on a hard drive.
Black Widow, I would be really on a hard drive.
I mean,
Black Widow, absolutely. I'd be really, I was really looking forward to that movie for a lot of reasons. I think everyone kind of was. It looked cool. I really like Black Widow as a character, and I was super excited to see David Harbour in it from Stranger Things and whatnot.
Florence Pugh too. There's a lot of talent in that movie.
Yeah. There's like there were a lot of reasons I was interested in that movie, and it sucks that now it's not happening for the foreseeable future. But anyway, that was a very roundabout way of describing what was going on with Avatar 2 and Star Wars.
Yeah.
We still know nothing about either of these movies. It's all like pretty rumored, besides what James Cameron decides to say every once in a while about Avatar sequels.
They put out like a little like promo or something, like apparently on the set of Avatar 2.
Yeah, it was just a photo of them all in like mocap and like a fake water.
Well, no,
okay.
I saw a thing. Oh, well, I didn't see that picture. I saw like an actual 1 minute, maybe a minute 30-second video of him being like, yeah, Avatar's on Disney Plus, and we're saying it from the set of Avatar 2 in New Zealand. And
Really?
I remember seeing the announcement when they started filming in the live action scenes in New Zealand.
And then I very vaguely remember seeing news that I have no idea how New Zealand's doing with COVID, but probably better than here, because I remember seeing.
I think they crushed it within like a month because their
probably
population's so
because
small.
I remember seeing that the Lord of the Rings TV show, like this Amazon Prime thing, resumed filming, and Avatar resumed filming. At least I think. That might have been a dream, because I like those movies so much and I just want them to be filming. But I'm pretty sure I saw that. Not that that really means anything, because the movie can be done like Black Widow and just sit somewhere before everybody's ready to see it.
Yeah.
But
Artemis Fowl apparently sucked, which everyone kind of expected because it got delayed for so long. But I mean, none of us saw this. None of us. I don't think any of us saw Artemis Fowl. Did you,
It did
Jake?
come out though.
I did not see it, but I do know that it like broke some record on Letterboxd for like the most 1 stars or something after like only like a week. Not that Letterboxd really matters. Also, I think that the Kissing Booth 2 recently just broke that record for like instant hate on Letterboxd. But yeah, I mean, it just looked bad, right? Apparently, there's like a fan base of these books. Who would have known that was like pissed about how they did it? Apparently they could.
I remember those books from when we were all younger.
I
vaguely remember, but how I remember something like The Wrinkle in Time. It's just like vaguely
The Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle.
We called it. It's not like anybody didn't call it. I can't say I'm particularly upset or particularly happy that it did poorly. It's just like kind of a funny thing that happened, I guess.
Yeah.
Nobody really addressed it. Like, it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
It was like, to me, it was kind of like Lady and the Tramp, the live action one. I never saw that. I know.
Never watched.
I still haven't watched that. I always say I'm going to watch that, and I still haven't watched it.
Everyone was like, yeah, released on Disney Plus. It's bad. But I don't know. I mean, none of us have seen it, so we obviously can't really go into plot, and we're not going to analyze a movie that we haven't seen. But apparently it sucked. And
I guess on Artemis Fowl, let us know.
If you've seen Artemis Fowl, hit us up on Twitter and let us know how it was. And I guess on the topic of Disney Plus, HBO Max and Peacock, which we talked about a little bit already, officially came out while we were. I thought maybe HBO Max came out like just before we went on our break, but we're basically. It's come to the point where everyone's like, oh, how is Disney Plus going to compare to HBO Max and Peacock when those come out? And now they have come out. I have not used either one of them, but Jake has HBO Max. How's that? Oh, you have both.
I have both, although I only just scrolled around whatever Peacock. I haven't watched anything on it, but I've heard fine things. HBO Max I really like. Now, I know that kind of the big thing going in. Well, first of all, the marketing didn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah, the marketing was weird.
Because you have to know going into it, HBO Max is Warner Brothers streaming service. HBO Max is equivalent to Disney Plus. I don't know why they chose this name, honestly. But also, it was like the most expensive. I want to say it was like $14.99. Like
$14.99.
Right. So that's crazy.
Premium.
Right? So I didn't even the premium, which is I think is the argument for why they chose the HBO name, because it kind of feels fancy. But
well, everyone already has this premeditated association with HBO as being like the big
Well, they just make good things.
The big premium streaming, well, not always streaming, used to be cable, now streaming, platform, the big platform that just makes good shit, and very rarely makes anything that no one likes.
But it's, anyways, long story short, I got it because it was like included in my family's like DirecTV or like AT&T or something. So it costs no extra, and I've really enjoyed it. I've watched a lot of movies. Like I've rewatched like 2 of the Lord of the Rings movies, which are on there. I've watched some of like the old Looney Tunes cartoons. I watched Looney Tunes Back in Action, which is like so much fun.
Brendan Fraser.
Right. Yeah. And there's a ton of classic movies because it's Warner Brothers. So they literally have like film history type things, like a lot of the old Westerns, like literally, you know, like Wizard of Oz, a lot of the monster movies. Like they just have cool things to honestly scroll around with. And then the DC stuff, who knows what's happening with it in the future.
Yeah, what was the deal with the DC stuff? Because they announced like we're gonna have all the DC shit,
and it launched with it.
Happen.
I think.
Yeah, they don't. They don't have it all.
It's going right now.
I got it. I got HBO Max because I realized it had all the old horror movies I love so much, and a majority of DC content. And I don't know what they're doing, but they keep randomly pulling things for like a month and then putting them back. Like as of August 1st, all the Harry Potter films are gone, which is insanity.
Good thing I bought those.
Yeah, right. I watched Fantastic Beasts with it too. Different conversation.
Okay.
But that's another reason why I got HBO Max. I was like, you know what? I'll do the 1 week free trial, and I'll try and just watch all this content I want to watch, and then I forgot about it as I normally do and spent $15. And now I'm like, whatever. I canceled it, and it'll just expire in a month, and then maybe I'll renew it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they don't have. They said they were going to launch with all the Superman movies. They don't. They don't have Man of Steel, which is the most recent and probably most talked about Superman movie.
Definitely
don't have that. They for a while didn't have Batman vs Superman. Now they do. I don't know if they have. They think they do have Wonder Woman, but they keep. It's weird. I don't know what the model was and who agreed to this to randomly pull and add things, but Harry Potter's a flagship franchise for that service. And the fact that they pulled all 9 films is insanity to me.
It's a flagship. It's a flagship franchise for Warner Brothers in general.
Right.
And it was a big deal actually when it came out because the Wizarding Worlds, like whatever that I guess IP is called, like I think it was like USA, like the TV channel had the rights to it, like exclusive rights. And but then it launched with HBO Max, and like they didn't announce that. It was like a surprise. But now it's coming off. I did not know that. That kind of sucks.
HBO Max is weird. It's just weird. Yeah.
Very weird.
Well, I was just gonna ask, what ended up happening with the Snyder cut of Justice League?
Comes out like in a year.
Comes out next year.
Oh, okay. So
early 2021 is what they're saying.
For some reason, I got the impression that it was happening soon, but
no, they're doing a lot of special effects and reshoots and stuff.
Gotcha.
They gave him a blank $30 million check and said, "Do whatever you want." And the rumor is it's even higher. So that's again another reason why I got it was I obviously want to see that. If you've listened to me talk in any platform anywhere, I am a big defender of Zack Snyder, so I am excited for that movie.
I can't wait to watch that 6-hour movie when it comes out.
Well, who knows? I mean, it's been kicked around that like maybe they'll make it like a mini series kind of thing. I guess that's what Netflix did with The Hateful Eight, which is like so cool. I would prefer that, honestly. Makes it like a very unique experience.
Yeah.
Right. But anyways, my biggest
complaint. It's a Disney show.
Yeah. My biggest complaint with HBO Max is it doesn't work. Like, so my TV has like Roku on it. So that's
doesn't have Roku. It's so bizarre.
Not on Roku. I don't think it's on Fire Stick.
There's not on Fire Stick either.
So dumb.
Wow.
So I have to do
like HDMI my computer to my TV.
Yes. Wow. I have it on my PlayStation, but for some reason it is so buggy. Like, a movie we watched is Jaws. I watched Jaws on HBO Max, which is cool. Never saw it before. And I moved like
Jaws is great.
So fun. And because I've been going to the beach like every day. So it's fun to be spooked. But it literally took like twice as long as the movie is because this thing was so laggy. It was so annoying. But it worked completely fine on browser. So whenever I watch something there, I have to plug it HDMI, which is so annoying.
That's a big missed opportunity.
I know,
like
it's such a bummer.
it's really weird that they don't have a Roku app or something, because I mean nowadays like a lot of people have Roku TVs. So yeah, that is kind of weird. And even like the Amazon whatever it's
Fire
called,
Stick.
Fire Stick, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just odd, and Peacock works from what I can tell, but you got to sit through the ads and things like that. So when Disney Plus launched,
Peacock is
like,
Universal, correct? It's like their
Yeah.
Universal's counter to these two. Why is
It
it
is
called
Universal.
Peacock?
because
That's the logo.
they're pushing the NBC stuff, like
Yeah.
Parks and Rec is like one of their big things, and
Okay.
it was
And
on
The Office.
NBC.
They took The Office from
Right.
Yeah,
Netflix.
Yeah.
That's right.
But anyways, I remember when Disney Plus came out, although the interface like works and is cool, I don't know, it's just like it wasn't anything to write home about, especially on the, I remember thinking it was like cooler on the computer because when you hover
It's
over
very
like Disney,
simple.
the castle, gets like the thing, and like the Pixar, the clouds go. But on the TV, it doesn't do anything cool. Not that you need it, but it just doesn't. But anyways, HBO Max and Peacock like sometimes don't even work. So Disney Plus did a lot better in that respect.
I know what you're talking about with the banners. Like I remember on Star Wars Day, they updated all the banners of the Star Wars movies to be concept art
cool.
for each movie, and it's so cool. And it looks really cool on your TV. It's very satisfying. But I think that there is a larger conversation, because this is something I've thought about quite a bit. There's a larger conversation to be had about performance between the streaming services. I've noticed that Disney Plus, when it's a weaker Wi-Fi signal, Disney Plus just shuts down. Like it can't figure it out.
It doesn't even try. You don't buffer in Disney Plus. It's just going or it crashes.
Yeah, exactly. And I've noticed that about it. So if you have a weak Wi-Fi signal, it's hard to run Disney Plus. I found that Hulu is a bit better. Amazon Prime Video for some reason is just like the best, and that's probably because they own like all the servers. But like Prime Video works really well in my experience, even when there's a weaker Wi-Fi signal. So I mean, there's definitely like a bigger conversation to be had, and we're not engineers, but I've found that Disney Plus usually is pretty good, but you do have to have a good Wi-Fi signal in order to run it effectively. Or else it just poops out.
How often do you guys get on Disney Plus and watch things?
Probably a couple times a week.
Yeah, not every day for sure. It's honestly it's not my go-to as much as I wanted it to be.
Yeah,
I tend to because I feel like with Disney there's a specific mood you want to be in, sort of, for me at least. Recently I've been on it a lot because everything is sad and Disney is genuinely kind of or generally kind of happy. Yeah, usually like 2 or 3 times a week I'll watch something on it. I find myself watching just YouTube more. Like I just watch a lot of YouTube.
I watch a lot of YouTube. I've been watching like some stuff on Amazon Prime.
Prime has SpongeBob, so I've been watching a lot of that on there too.
Yeah, Prime does have SpongeBob. Yeah. I've also Prime has The Americans, and I've been watching that quite good. And then there's like some stuff on Netflix that I watch. So I kind of switch around, but I agree with what you said, Spencer. Like Disney Plus isn't my go-to streaming service, but I love having it.
Agreed.
Just because like you have to be in that happy, goofy mood for it. I usually go on it to watch Clone Wars, but
right.
But that being said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to talk about Pixar and New Mutants. Thanks, everyone. And welcome back. We are here talking about Pixar now. A new Pixar film called Luca was announced the other day, and it apparently will be centering on a young boy living on the Italian Riviera, and he's going to share adventures with his new best friend, but a dark secret about his true identity, which is the fact that he is actually a sea monster from another world.
Oh my God.
just below the surface of the water. That secret seeks to threaten the bond between him and his new best friend. The voice cast has not been announced yet, but it's exciting. A lot of people are talking about it on Twitter, so we're going to talk about it here now. Yes, it does sound a lot like Call Me by Your Name. In
It
fact,
literally sounds like.
yeah, and Spencer actually noted that Luca is the first name of the director of Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah.
It's true.
So weird coincidence, maybe. But obviously I'm not gonna like theorize anything. But I'm excited for this. I think it's a very cool setting. I'm very excited to see that animated water.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it sounds like they're just into telling these stories about I guess, guys bonding. Like that was kind of the theme of Onward, was his two brothers who
Yes.
bonded through their adventure. And now it sounds like it's going to be
Onward
a
is
young
so
boy
good.
and his friend.
No one
Yeah.
talks about it enough.
Onward is so incredible.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Spencer, how are you feeling about this movie?
I think it sounds great. I obviously my grandpa was from Italy, so I get really excited about anything Italian, even though I'm only like a quarter or something. It's not a significant enough portion, but it's the only thing that I like can pinpoint any lineage to. So I definitely like play that part of my personality up. But I think it sounds great. I think Italy's a great setting for anything. It's like one of the most beautiful countries in the world. I've had a pitch for a long time for a princess movie about an Italian princess that I won't share on here because one of you will steal it. Eventually, I will pitch that movie. So the fact that Disney is helping Pixar make a movie set in Italy is cool. I think the idea sounds interesting. The pitch is vague. Is Luca a sea monster? Is his friend a sea monster?
I'm pretty sure Luca is the sea monster.
He's like shape-shifting into a human being.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, literally all we have is the short pitch.
It kind of sounds like Bromance Little Mermaid a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Like Call Me by Your Name meets Little Mermaid, but it's about friendship and not romance. Or maybe it is about romance, and we'll find out later.
Maybe it is about romance.
That would be awesome. I would love it. Like,
Pixar's just gonna show up Disney with they're like you barely scratch the surface with Elsa. Here's some true representation.
Yeah, they just go for it. I'd love it. It'd be great.
Yeah.
But I think it sounds. All we have right now is the pitch. It sounds interesting. I'm obviously here for it. Pixar is Pixar. So.
Yeah.
Jake.
I love I did not know that was the pitch. I just saw that one picture they shared and saw that it was set in Italy and people making fun of that. It looked like Call Me by Your Name or
they showed a picture of concept art that looks pretty.
But that sounds like an awesome pitch. I love the idea of being able to see all these crazy creatures that Pixar can come up with. But anything, it's just the overall news that they're working on a new movie is just exciting.
Yeah.
And
I'm very excited for Soul. I would be very surprised if it actually comes out in November, but I'm super excited for that movie. I'm just really glad. I think I'm just overall I'm just happy that Pixar is finally doing original shit again. Because there was, as you guys know, there was a period there where they were just kind of, doing sequels to a lot of their shit. And I feel like a lot of people felt like there wasn't a whole lot of originality in that. And I'm excited to see this. I think because it seemed like Incredibles 2 kind of ended their Pixar's
Toy Story 4.
Oh, Toy Story 4, yeah.
I think that was the last one.
I think that was the last one because I remember they announced like that Toy Story 4 was actually going to be the last. I think it was at D23. They said that I forget who it was, but they said that after Toy Story 4, they're just doing original content, at least for the future, like the foreseeable future here. Who knows, if they decide to make it Soul 2 or something, in the future. But it seems like for now they're focusing on that original stuff, and that's kind of what I love to see from Pixar.
Soul properly looks incredible. Like I almost teared up watching just the trailer. It does look
incredible.
Looks really good. Yeah. I hope we get to see it this year. I hope they don't. I'd be bummed if it went to Disney Plus because that's kind of what happened. Onward is like the saddest release of any movie.
Yeah.
Because it came out. It's wonderful. Like it's so good. It was in theaters for like 2 weeks, pulled, had nothing for like a month, and then they dropped it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And it's like the lowest grossing Pixar movie, obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But I think it's always gonna. It's already feels like it's been forgotten about in like in the cultural zeitgeist, and that bums me out because again, I think it's incredible.
It was on.
So
they
good.
did put it on Prime Cinema before they put it on Disney Plus.
That's right.
So I'm sure that some people paid for it.
It will be remembered fondly. I mean, it's just a great movie, so of course it will.
Yeah. Besides that, I mean, there's not really much to say about that except we're excited. But New Mutants, there's some news surrounding that. Sounds like, Jake, you know more.
I mean, they just released like a new trailer or something, and like Spencer was saying, I think before the show, every time we see pieces of this movie, it just looks better and better. So I'm properly excited. I know it's not like connecting with the MCU and everything, so I would just love to see it as soon as possible. Kind of, I think, honestly, we probably talked about it, like when Disney acquired Fox. This is like something that was, again, sitting on a hard drive somewhere. Like, this is a finished product. Disney has no stake in the game with it. It might be a total dud and it's a total box office bomb, but like, yeah, we made some change and we'll just keep it moving. But the fact that they've like re-edited this thing and had gone,
I was going to say,
so
in
much
the
trouble,
theme of like all these director's cuts now, because Zack Snyder's Justice League was a huge deal and that they got announced. I think they like are re-editing New Mutants, like you said, or there's like a director's cut that they're going with instead of what Fox was going to go with. So Disney is going to give us a different movie than what Fox was going to release. But they keep doing trailers and they haven't talked about putting Disney Plus. So my hunch is maybe it's really good. I think it might be a great movie.
I mean, it just looks cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all know something that Fox was doing with their with the X-Men movies towards the end, at least. I mean, excluding Dark Phoenix. Logan was like nothing but loved. Both the Deadpool movies were great and made so much money. And it's like, you know, at a certain point, if we're going to get so many of these superhero movies, same with like, you know, so much Star Wars content, all that kind of stuff. If you're going to set the movie in this world, which is like automatically going to get you X amount of money just because of like, honestly, like the contract that fans sign, like we're going to see all of these things regardless. Tell a really interesting and like unique story in that world. That's what Mandalorian did. Like at its core, it was about like parenting, which is like so cool to set that story in the Star Wars world. So like whatever the actual story of New Mutants is, make it an actual horror movie. Like how cool is that? Make it rated R, but revolving around X-Men. And that's like so fun. And why not do that? And again, it has Disney doesn't seem to have any stake in the game. Like, yeah, it's tied to Marvel, but they're rebooting everything X-Men related.
I'm going to hit you with a theory about that. So this is the one they released Dark Phoenix and it was bad and I didn't even see it. And I think no one saw it. It was
I'm pretty sure absolutely no one saw that movie.
Literally nobody saw it. Even the editors just had their eyes closed while they were making it.
As far as I know, New Mutants is like new characters. There's not they don't really have any direct interaction with the current X-Men universe that existed on screen. And even then, like continuity in the X-Men universe didn't exist. It was just movies they were pumping out.
It's like I think Fox's Joker. It's just like
it's just like they just kind of do whatever they want.
Whatever. Yeah.
But I think that going back to what we talked about a little bit earlier was Doctor Strange for like a second, Multiverse of Madness. That's supposed to be a horror film-esque. It's directed by Sam Raimi, who has done done Evil Dead, like done Drag Me to Hell, like very well-received horror film, especially Evil Dead. That's an awesome franchise.
And directed Spider-Man.
Yeah, of course. But I was talking about his horror background, Lane. But I think in relation to New Mutants, the reason I think Disney might be holding on to it is if it's very good, and they're doing a multiverse movie that is a horror-esque tone, they might be in Doctor Strange. If it's great. If they release this movie and it goes over well. That's a theory I've like thought about. I don't know if it'll come true. Probably not. But it's possible if you're doing a movie that has multiverse in the title. And I hope they don't go back on that like they did with Spider-Man. That was one of my biggest peeves with Far From Home is that they toyed with multiverse and then they just didn't. And I was like,
we're going to do it. And then they didn't.
Wait, did they? I don't remember.
Yeah, you don't remember that?
The whole time he's like, I'm from another universe. And we're like, oh, are they really going to do this?
Oh, yeah.
And then he was like, no, I'm actually not.
That was dumb.
It was dumb.
Yeah, and you wonder why I hated that movie.
Dude, literally, then they made it like a
bro.
joke. Like, oh, it's he's got this whole career. Like, it was supposed to be funny that
Yeah.
like the fans were in on the multiverse, but then it ended up being a special effects bullshit.
Yeah.
That was dumb. I forgot about that.
There was
Oh my
one
God.
scene in that entire movie that I enjoyed, and it was when they just let Mysterio be Mysterio, and it was like messing with Spider-Man's mind, and
It's the best
was
scene in
seeing,
the movie.
yeah,
It's the only
was
scene I
seeing like
remember.
exactly seeing the dead Tony Stark and stuff. It was
That
just
was
like
so fun.
so fun, and then that scene ended, and then the rest of the movie was absolute shit. But
So if they don't go back on the multiverse idea, and I really hope they don't because it's in the freaking title,
Yeah.
then I think you could incorporate New Mutants there if you wanted to and use that as like a bridge, a launching pad for X-Men. And you can just reboot the rest of the franchise and just take that. And then we've already talked about Deadpool. That's an easy fix if they want to. He can literally look at the camera and say, "Oh, look, I'm in the MCU now," and it's fine.
yeah,
I hope so.
I really hope that they don't go back on it, because one, it would be the second time they went back on the whole multiverse thing, and they know that we want it at this point.
Well, I mean, in contrast, it seems like DC is fully leaning into it. I mean, Michael Keaton's playing Batman again in Flash. Like, what? So if they don't do it, DC's gonna do it, and just
DC
literally
is fully doing Flashpoint. Like they're fully committed to doing it. It sounds like, which sounds cool.
So cool.
Yeah,
well, also how
they have
Flashpoint,
nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Literally, how Flashpoint operated in the comics, I think Spencer, you know more than me, but it's like DC was becoming. It was like time to reboot the thing. Like they were losing their steam.
Oh, do I know more than you?
So, well, I've read it too, but that is sick. So it's like kind of operating the same way as in the movies. Like these things, you know, they're still making
started the new
a ton
52.
Of money.
It rebooted everything.
Right, exactly.
Right,
and that's when I started reading DC comics. So it's always got a fun place for me. It's just a fun story.
It's a great story.
I guess,
and you can use it to rewrite whatever you want to rewrite. And
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not directly, again, another tangent. They're not directly adapting it. If they were, then there'd be a lot of different casting announcements. But even the Marvel movies that announce like Age of Ultron, all these famous comic arcs aren't typically direct adaptations. They just take little bits from it.
Yeah.
And I think what they're taking
even
with Flash
Infinity War.
Right. What they're doing with Flashpoint is basically just the basic idea that Barry Allen runs back in time to save his mom and then rips open the universe, which is fun.
Yeah.
And that's
so
Flash.
Cool.
The best Flash stories are bananas, and they're just ridiculous. And that's for me. That's where the character's great. Is because it's just insanity and it's weird time stuff. Like if you like bad time travel movies, you would love the Flash.
That's why it would have been so cool if I think Zemeckis was attached to it for a while. That would have been.
Now it's the guy who did it.
Wait, what? Really?
What?
Andy Muschietti is doing Flashpoint. Yeah.
Oh, now it's the guy.
Oh,
yeah.
now,
I see.
Okay, he did both of them.
I like him. He's a good director.
Yeah. I liked it. I even liked it. Really good. I even liked it. Chapter 2, and a lot of people were very critical of that movie.
I liked it a lot too. I agree, Lane.
Anyways,
well,
exciting.
I love that theory. Who knows if it'll happen? I guess just long story short, I just want to see New Mutants. It just looks cool, and I hope it comes out sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Also in the news, Muppets Now started streaming. I think it was yesterday at the time that we're recording this, which would make sense because it was Friday. Yeah. But it's a new. I was reading like Disney's description of it. It's a new Muppet series that is it said unscripted, a new unscripted Muppet series with lots of special guests and stuff.
Is it like the Muppet Show then?
I'm not sure if it's like how HBO did a talk show with Elmo.
Oh, the Not So Late Show.
Yeah. Elmo's Not So Late Show. I'm not sure if it's like a similar vein as that. I don't know anything else about it besides that. I really don't think it's going to be in the same vein as the ABC show, The Muppets. Remember that?
I like that show a lot.
Yeah. I haven't watched it.
It's on Disney Plus and it's funny. I recommend it.
Yeah, I heard that like people like you, Spencer, that are like hardcore Muppets fans, I think like it because it was only on for like a season, right? But
it's a very weird adult comedy with the Muppets in it.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of the brilliance of it, is that they knew what their audience was. You know, people who like the Muppets are generally adults now.
They're like early 20s. They're like
exactly. So I kind of like the way that they did that. Obviously, I don't think it was very well received by most people. So
I think it got a lot of backlash because parents were letting their kids watch it, and then there was
Oh,
Really?
okay,
sex
yeah.
jokes between Kermit and Piggy, and it was like, what's happening?
That was so weird.
Yeah, I think it's great,
kinda
but
fun.
I also understand that it's weird that it existed.
You guys remember that movie that came out a couple
Yes.
years ago?
The Happy Time Murders.
Oh my
Oh.
god, yeah. And wasn't it like
It's terrible.
It was directed by the son.
It was like Jim Henson's son.
Yeah, it was Jim Henson's son. But
not
yeah,
good.
God, that looked so bad just from the trailer. I was like, this is gonna be fucking awful.
It fell to the Sausage Party.
It really
the problem
did.
is like you realize you have a funny thing. You're like, oh, the Muppets swearing and doing drugs, and then it's just not funny after 10 more minutes. Because like it's a cool gimmick to get you in the theater, but it's like, okay, what else?
It's a fun
like
short
Sausage
film.
Party. Yeah, the food just swearing. Okay, animated food swearing.
I like Sausage
So do I.
Party,
I think it has interesting philosophical ideas in the endings. Happy Time Murders does not. That movie's bad. It's just bad.
Yeah. It also
sure
had
it looked
Melissa
terrible.
McCarthy in it, and I'm really
Who's playing Ursula in Little Mermaid? I didn't realize that.
I think I've talked about before. I just don't like Melissa McCarthy, and it's nothing.
I just don't think she's funny.
It's nothing against her. Yeah, I'm sure she's great. I'm sure that she is so nice in real life.
Well, everyone who works with her glows about her. They talk about how great she is. I just don't think she's funny.
But
personally.
I thought that she was funny at some point, like
Bridesmaids
with Bridesmaids and the movie she did with Jason Bateman.
Yes.
Identity Thief.
Oh, Identity Thief.
Trainwreck's Amy Schumer, Jake.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
what?
Yeah.
But kind of after that, I don't know. Like, I didn't find her funny in Ghostbusters, and other shit. But you know, I hope that she's good as Ursula. I hope that I like her in Little Mermaid.
Yeah. No, I'm pulling for her. I hope she is great.
Exactly. Anyway, that was our Muppets conversation.
Also in the case of that, Diz Twitter blew up because Kermit's voice is different.
Oh yeah.
Because the guy who initially Jim Henson did Kermit for like 30 years and is brilliant. And any old Muppets film you watch, that's actually Jim Henson puppeteering and voicing Kermit, which is really cool to me as being like a Muppets fan.
Mm-hmm.
But after he sadly passed away, they had a guy do it for like 20 years who did like the Jason Segel and Amy Adams Muppets movie. And he's awesome and sounded just like Jim Henson, was great. And then they fired him for mysterious reasons like a year and a half ago. No one knows anything about. I'm sure it was not great, and I don't want to know personally. But the new guy that they have doing it did one video as Kermit online during the beginnings of the pandemic and quarantine where he played Rainbow Connection, and people were like, this sounds weird. And he's doing Kermit in the new show, and there's like a lot of fans are like, he just doesn't sound good. Wow. And some people are like, yeah, well, it's time for a change. You know, Kermit's been around for 100 years, or not 100 years, but a long time. And we can have different interpretations of Kermit, so to say. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to still sound, I think it's just so personal because it was Jim. Jim was doing Kermit.
Yeah.
If you don't sound like Jim, it's weird.
I mean, I feel like it kind of falls into the Jared Leto Joker problem, where it's like there's obviously like Heath Ledger, really, really different, but not stupid different, you know. Yeah. A lot of people just didn't. A lot of people obviously connected with Heath Ledger's Joker. A lot of people connect with a lot of the voice actors that do it, but you know, people didn't connect with Jared Leto's Joker, and I think that it's just, you know, that's a conversation I think we've had before, but I think it's a similar issue where it's like it's so what we're not used to that people just aren't gonna like it. Whether that's like sort of an uncanny valley thing where people hearing a different voice on Kermit is just too much for people, or what, but yeah,
I'm sure we'll get used to it, and eventually like it'll just be the norm, as that's how Kermit sounds. But it is weird because it doesn't really even sound close. It's way deeper.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was just a Diz Twitter backlash that happened. That happens all the time.
How do you feel about it? Like, how do you feel about the voice?
It's different. It didn't bother me. I definitely noticed it, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound like how Kermit normally sounds.
Right.
I also think in time I won't even notice it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm all for new people or people doing different roles and obviously interpreting things your own way. But I think that the argument that it is, Kermit was like Jim's baby. Kermit was kind of the start of everything.
Yeah.
And having him sound weird is weird. And I'm like, I agree with that too. So I'm kind of just like in the middle, like waving the white flag where I'm like, I get it on both ends, but I'm also like fine with it because I trust the Jim Henson Company. And I think if they really believe in this guy, then we all should too.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is what it is. It was a weird little moment that I saw a lot of people reacting to. I thought we should talk about it.
All right. So, first, so the sequel to the Muppets, the Jason Segel Muppets,
Yes.
that was Muppets. What was it called?
Most Wanted.
Muppets Most. Is that good? I haven't seen it.
Me neither.
I like it. It's definitely not as good as the first one with Jason Segel. Jason Segel's not even in Muppets.
Yeah, he's
Most
not
Wanted.
in it. It's who's in it? Tina Fey's in it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, she
so.
is. And even the character Walter, who's like the main character of the Muppets in Muppets 2011, is like barely in it. It's kind of just another Muppets movie, but just newer. And it didn't do nearly as well as the one with Jason Segel. Like, let's be real, that movie is way better than it has any right to be. That is
it is
movie.
it is fucking good. It is really.
He wrote it, and I've read the script, and the script is literally called like the greatest Muppets movie ever made by Jason Segel. He was just like a lifelong Muppets fan and wrote this script with someone, and then pitched it to Disney because Disney owned the Muppets at the time, and they made it, and it was great. But I did like a whole presentation on that script in one of my classes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was great, but it's a good script. Check it out. It's online. It's PDF.
Yeah, and I'll try Muppets Most Wanted. I'll see if I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to get into the I've never ever watched any Muppets. I never saw any of the movies or anything, but I did
watch the Muppet movie, the original. It's awesome.
I saw like one or two of the Defunctlands for Muppets, and that makes me want to watch it. And I mean, Spencer, you've just been telling me for the longest time that they're good, and I love Muppet Vision. So I don't know what ever kept me from actually watching them.
You should do it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone watch Muppets.
I guess so.
Support them. That's what.
Yeah, exactly.
If you watch the show, because Disney needs to understand that this is a viable property because they are the most underused IP that Disney has.
Absolutely.
So please, if you even have a modicum of interest in the Muppets, just give Muppets Now a try. If you don't like it, obviously don't watch it. But
just turn the show on and then go make some dinner.
Right.
Just have it on in the background. Just get those numbers up for Disney,
so we can get Muppets in the parks again, please.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay, moving on to Star Wars. We talked about it a little bit earlier in relation to Avatar 2, but there's a lot of shit going on Star Wars Twitter. And a lot of rumors bouncing around. Seems like, from what people think, from now on, this is all rumored. Nothing has been officially announced that I believe. But people just think that everyone is going to be in the Obi-Wan series.
I know, right?
People are like, Hayden Christensen's going to be in it. Qui-Gon Jinn is going to be in it. I wouldn't be
Maul.
Darth Maul, yeah. Ahsoka, whatever.
Kiara from Solo.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Oh, yes, yeah.
Kira.
Yeah,
Kira. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Weird
Spencer
Star
Moore's
Wars
fan
name.
account, from what I understand.
Oh,
Akira.
yeah. But it seems everyone thinks that everyone is going to be in the Obi-Wan series. I wouldn't be surprised if Qui-Gon was in it as a Force ghost. I think that'd be cool.
It's a given that he's going to be in it. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda goes, "Friend, come back from the dead. How's he?"
Oh,
and Obi-Wan
yeah.
goes, "Qui-Gon?" So I think they're going to like meditate and talk to each other or something.
Well, that, and then if you go back and watch Revenge of the Sith, you can hear Qui-Gon yelling like, or no, it's not Revenge of the Sith, it's Attack of the Clones. You can hear Qui-Gon yelling like, "No, Anakin, no," when he's killing the Sand People.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's kind of spotty around, he's thrown in, and then his voice was at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But so I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he makes some sort of appearance, whether just auditory or visual or whatever, in this show. I think it'd be cool. I would like to see that. As far as like seeing Hayden Christensen, I don't know, like he's Darth Vader. He's Darth Vader at this point in time. So like thinking chronologically. So yeah, maybe flashbacks, but I don't know, like Are they gonna pay Hayden Christensen to stand in a Darth Vader outfit? Maybe not.
I think you're gonna get, the series seems to be not really action based from everything we've heard. It's really gonna just be a character study
It's
on
gonna be
Obi-Wan out in the desert.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like Logan, just like the emotional toll.
Well, that was the pitch. Was like old man Obi-Wan, just kind of over watching young Luke and kind of just reflecting on his life. So I think you might
smoking crack.
Yeah.
It sounds like an awesome comic, honestly.
Oh,
sounds like a really
exactly
fun
what
story.
I thought when they announced it. I'm like, this sounds like a great one shot that I would read. But as a series, it's pretty interesting that they're adapting it, because everyone was like, oh, they'll do Darth Maul. I'm like, yeah, but they did it in animation. And I'm gonna be real with you, that fight in live action would be boring. It lasts 2 seconds.
Yeah, but because it's animated, it's like people think that it's one of the best lightsaber duels of all time.
It's like 2 seconds.
But it's like, it's so epic, good. Though. It's so.
It does illustrate how powerful Obi-Wan was.
Yeah.
My thoughts on the Obi-Wan show are, Obi-Wan's character in the original Star Wars, and just the original Star Wars in general, like, is literally so good and so special. So the fact that they're making a show, to me, it doesn't feel like one of these added on unnecessary, like, corporate-y kind of things. Like, I'm genuinely really excited, and I think it can have like a lot of intent behind it, to the point where I would hate for something that sounds so special to be watered down with like shoving these solo characters in, giving Hayden Christensen like half an episode just because we know people would like it. Like, although that stuff sounds like fun, I'd rather leave that to its own thing and just let this be a really special series, I guess. That's my only thought on it, really. Like, I just hope, because the news is basically everybody's going to be in it, and this is like the launching off point for like the Star Wars TV world. Where I would like for it to really tie into the movies. I mean, use Mandalorian and use the idea of Solo and like whatever, those characters will come back in one way or another. I would like for this one to just like really be based. How cool would it be, like, if you see what a normal day for Obi-Wan looked like? He's doing all this meditation, he's dealing with the Sands people, whatever, and then it ends with like him watching the sunset and seeing like a very young Luke farming or whatever. It's like, God, that would be so cool as the sun's setting. It would just be so perfect. You hear the Force music come in, it would feel like a genuine part of the movies. Where if we put everyone in it, it would feel like, just something I don't care for, I guess.
I think Ahsoka's going to be in it. That sounds like it's just easy, because she was Anakin's apprentice. She might seek him out in an episode and they'll just talk.
And like
she's also going to be in Mandalorian,
she's
right?
She's going to be in Mandalorian, so.
And then in the same breath, it makes so much sense to put Darth Maul in it because of like all the cartoon world and whatever. And apparently if Darth Maul's going to be in all these extra shows, you might as well introduce him here. People will go nuts for it. But then it's like, if you're going to do that, then why not put Akira in it? Why not do all these kinds of things? And then it just becomes
takes away from what was going to be the interesting part of this series.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
it takes away from what everyone wanted, which is old Obi-Wan sitting on a rock and smoking crack.
Literally.
Yeah. That's what we all wanted.
Smoking those death sticks.
Oh my God.
I hope they make a death sticks joke.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh, please. Yeah.
Bad Batch?
Mean, like, so
thoughts.
Bad Batch got announced. We can talk about that. It's a spin-off of the Clone Wars. It's going to be animated. And the to give you guys some context, the Bad Batch is a group of clones, like a squad of clones that's featured in the final season of the Clone Wars.
Oh.
And so they're taking it, assumably this series will focus on those clone troopers.
Is it like Captain Rex, like those main ones, or no?
No, I'm pretty sure they're different.
Oh wow,
it's like SEAL Team 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess they all kind of. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! They all look the same. Obviously, they're clones. I just saw the one picture and I thought it was like the ones that I know of from Rebels and Clone Wars, but I never finished Clone Wars, so that makes perfect sense. If it's
me neither. That's something I need to do.
Yeah, it's not Rex, it's not Cody. Those are like the two that everyone knows. But
that is so funny. Because they're clones. I mean, obviously they all look the same. Jesus.
They look like Jango Fett.
Yes,
Oh my god.
yes.
So that's happening. I'm really excited for it. And I hope that I can get through Clone Wars in time for that.
Mhm.
Because I'm still working my way through it. As far as like, there's some Solo news / rumors. A lot of people are still rooting for Solo to have a sequel. I don't personally really get that.
Me neither.
No, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. There's some really cool moments in it. I really don't think it has to have a sequel because, and I guess this is my little rant, like I feel like the movie did do a good job of putting Han Solo right at the position that we meet him in A New Hope, character wise, but I don't really get why you have to continue that. Because it felt like a pretty good continuation. Obviously, it wasn't to the extent where like Rogue One, it literally like ends where A New Hope begins, but
which is something I despise about Rogue One.
But I really like
ending.
Yeah,
really, I love it.
I mean, it's the CG is bad, and that's kind of what everyone critiques it for. And like instead of just like switching out her face with someone actually standing there, they did a full CG person. Just like they did.
Did we need that
Tarkin.
scene? Is my question. Did we
really they had
need
2 completely CG people in that movie, and if you go back and watch it now, it's like, oh yeah, that's a CG person.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in
Tarkin,
forever.
they do a good job in the beginning. He's in the shadows, and I'm like, is it?
Yeah.
And then you get,
they
should just keep him there.
Right, they have a reflection,
and you're
of
like,
him.
oh no.
Yeah, they have a reflection of him off of a window.
Looks great,
and it looked fantastic. And then he turns around, and everyone's like, oh, he's a gummy person.
Once he entered the light, you went, oh no, go back in the dark.
But that's been talked to death.
That's a meme at this point.
A lot of people are saying like, oh, Akira.
Who knows? I think I've been saying
Kira. I want to say it's Kira. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are like, oh, there's got to be a show with Kira and Darth Maul. Again, hasn't been confirmed, but maybe they'll be in the Obi-Wan series. Maybe they'll be their own thing. A lot of people are saying Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan, which would make sense, like we said. A lot of people are saying that Donald Glover may return as Lando for either his own series or maybe just appearing for something else, which would be really cool because he is the best part of that movie. And what was the other shit that people are saying? Amongst all of this, we still are supposedly having the Cassian Andor series.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, we're still supposed to get a Cassian Andor series that features at least K2SO in it, and that I feel like people are kind of like forgetting about that.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah, and apparently I think it would be really cool. I think there's like a lot to put there, especially because I think in the graphic novels, I think like Cassian's parents were like separatists or something. Maybe that's Poe Dameron, but they both they go into greater detail about those characters in the comics, most of which I haven't looked at. But so basically a lot of cool rumors floating around for Star Wars. Nothing confirmed except for Bad Batch.
Which, by the way, was not a rumor. Bad Batch is something that nobody was talking about.
Came out of nowhere.
No one thought that was going to happen. No one really, it seemed like, had an idea of a Clone Wars spinoff. But I'm excited for it.
Well, I think it's because the last season was super successful.
Everyone really. I didn't hear anyone complain about it.
I still haven't watched it, but I need to do that.
Yeah, so that's cool. There's a Galaxy's Edge VR thing. What's that?
Yeah, what is that?
You need to saw this.
Something Jake
it's
knows.
Like I just saw like a 2-minute little promo. It's like an Oculus Rift game. I don't exactly know how this works, but it looked awesome. Like I've heard nothing but good things about Oculus and even like PlayStation VR and things like that. Anyways, it's just I don't remember what it's called. It might literally be called Beyond Galaxy's Edge or something. And it is a story set on Batuu. That's essential. It's not open world, but it seemed very much like it. Like there's a different cantina that you get to go to, and you can just like talk to the people in there, and you get to wander around Black Spire Outpost, and it like goes beyond the borders, and supposedly some of the original characters or not the original characters. Apparently, it's set between 8 and 9.
So
it
like
just
I will be there, like the Galaxy's Edge characters.
probably. It just
cool.
The thing is,
And
the
this has
reason
been
why.
confirmed?
Yeah, it's happening.
Oh, okay.
It's being made. You know, it's like a video game made by a Lucasfilm. They do that.
The ILM lab.
Yes.
But it's not going to be like at
Don't they work with?
This is like a thing that's just released on its own. Okay.
And it's like an at-home video game for Oculus.
Cool.
And the reason why it looks so awesome is it's all of the things that I think we were all looking forward to in Galaxy's Edge. It's like I get to go to the cantina and have a conversation with the alien who's making a weird drink. And then he tells me about some bounty hunter. And I got to go outside and search through the town and find the thing. And oh, here's a map. You got to go to this. Obviously, that was far-fetched for the parks. Who knows what's going to happen with this like hotel situation in Orlando, but it just seems to have like a lot of that story-driven stuff that isn't exactly in the parks like we expected. And this sounds like an awesome way to do it. And I don't know, I really think like VR and like this, and VR and AR, I really think is going to be the future for this kind of stuff. Like I know some productions, this doesn't have anything to do with Star Wars, but I know some productions are coming back, like some things are shooting, even in LA. But there's like crazy rules about how to do set, how many people you can have on the soundstage at once. From what we've seen with like how they did Mandalorian, which was like that crazy projection screen, and it looks so incredible. There's like these studios that I have heard of where you basically build the whole set in the computer, and it's just actors sitting here doing like green screen times 50, essentially, building like a reality around these people. Like that's going to be the future. And I think like storytelling in these dumb Oculus Rift things and the PlayStation VR, it just looks awesome. And like this is the first thing that really made me want to get it, because it's like, oh wow, more Galaxy's Edge in VR. Like it's the closest thing to what I wanted in the park that I figure I could.
And you were a big fan of the mobile game, the Play Disney Parks Galaxy's Edge too.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, and I did the Void, which is like the that closed
like permanently.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Bummer. I did not know that. I was watching.
Those you don't know, the Void was a VR attraction in downtown Disney that was either Avengers or Star Wars themed, and you basically could like VR hang out with the Avengers and like fight people and stuff. But it closed because of COVID-19, obviously.
Like permanently though.
Yeah, it's like
speaking of VR, PlayStation has the Iron Man VR, which is supposed to come out at some point. It got delayed, I think, but that looks really cool.
It looks so much fun.
Yeah, but back to the Galaxy's Edge thing, I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know if you guys have seen Vader Immortal, which is another VR game. I think there's a couple parts to it that was also developed by ILM Lab. But it is like super cool. It's a VR game where you encounter Darth Vader, I believe, on Mustafar. But there's, a lot of cool shit to that. ILM Lab is just doing a lot of cool stuff right now. So that sounds awesome. Really cool. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I didn't even know about that before you brought that up.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Maybe in the description of this or something, I'll just put a link to it, because the little promo they put out, like literally they worked with like Imagineers to make it. They said they used like unused concept art for Smuggler's Run to like put it in the game. Like that is such a cool use of this world and story to, just continue it. Something that I figure we all wanted and like.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we'll do our picks of the week. We'll switch over to that. My pick of the week is Clone Wars, because look, I got a weird relationship with Clone Wars. I've tried to watch it quite a few times, but it was so hard for me to get the first season. But I found that at the end, I finally got to the end of the first season, and the last 2 or 3 episodes of the first season, probably last 4, are just so good. Like the last
Wow.
couple episodes of the first season is where the show finally picks up for me. And so I went through those. There's because the episodes are structured weirdly where it's like there's just like 3 parts to everything. So there's like a 3-part series at the end of season 1, and that's where it like really got good for me. And then they introduce in the final episode of the first season, they introduce Cad Bane, who is just super cool, awesome bounty hunter character. I believe only really exists in the animation shows, but
There's
he's
a
really
book
cool.
about him too, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. But very cool. So I'm excited to keep watching, and that's my pick. Go watch Clone Wars if you haven't seen it. Jake.
My thing is going to be Hamilton. Finally, I got around to it. I don't think you guys watched it,
Nope.
but
We should talk about it more after we've all seen it, because I know it was like a big cultural moment.
Probably, yeah. It was,
I've
you know,
not
it's
checked it out.
I guess what to say about it. It is such a special story. I think it could not have come out at a more perfect time in A, the country, B, COVID. It was a huge win for Disney to get the rights to that and to be able to put it up online. It was shot so cool.
Really?
The reason I waited for a long time, I did see the show with my family in LA, but in the way back. So although it was like so fun and incredible to watch, I did not, I was like almost looking at it from like top down.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing it shot, I guess I just didn't want to see it like a webcam. Like I kind of imagined it was going to be like a live stream, and they shot it almost like a movie. Like they're like over the shoulders, cutting back and forth, and like the dramatic moments really cut in. It's cool. It really feels like you're watching a movie. Intermission is like a real intermission, like how it would be if you go to the theater. I picked up on so many like little things, like it sounds different than like when you just listen to the soundtrack. Like there are some moments that are actually kind of funny when you see it like performed that I never caught on. It's just a great story. Overall, just done so well. And we should talk about it more when everybody watches it, but I can't recommend it enough. And I would love for either Disney or for any of these other streaming services to put more like Broadway productions on, release them, because I know there is like kind of this conversation like that it's like an elitist like form of entertainment, which obviously it is. Like literally to see the Hamilton show with that cast, even at like a terrible seat all the way in the back, literally like thousands of dollars per seat.
It was crazy expensive.
I recently saw fairly recently I saw Book of Mormon on Broadway.
Oh yeah.
And it was, first of all, so good. Big fan of South Park and Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and they're geniuses. And Book of Mormon is just it's just really good. But yeah, it was pricey, pricey to go. And I think we even went on, we didn't go on like a Friday night, but it was pricey. So yeah.
So it's just really cool, and just a huge win for Disney. It is such a special story and show, and and the last thing I could say about it is like you can like really create a fun night of it, because they like put in the intermission, and like they kind of include like the, like when you see a show, the bands like does that warm up like little symphony thing. The lights really come down. You even hear the commentator go like, Hamilton is starting, so please turn off your phones, and like whatever. Like you can really like kind of make a night of it when everything seems so monotonous during quarantine. So it's really special, and you guys should definitely watch it.
I definitely will. It's interesting what you said about the cameras and like how they should. I kind of always, I guess I imagined it since they announced it that it would kind of be shot like a stand-up special is, where there's like a few different camera angles, but that's kind of it. But it was more complex than that. It sounds like.
Absolutely. It is so cool. And then it makes you appreciate things like, the dancers, like there's like 10, I think it's called like the ensemble or something. Like there's 10 actors that are only like in the backgrounds, either dancing around or like moving props and things. But like in real life, when I saw it, it kind of just looks like a lot of things are happening on the stage, and they're also literally rapping. So you kind of have to like use your brain to catch up on everything that's going on. But watching it like this, it's honestly like a movie. Like it uses everything. Like there's literally panning shots over the shoulders, close-ups. There's a really fun part of the show where it's like the first time you see the English, and this guy basically comes to America and is like reading a proclamation about all of the things that the king is saying, and it's obviously bad. And Hamilton is like intercutting, and it's like this really fun song where like they're going back and forth, and Hamilton is making fun of the guy who's just trying to do his job, and it's shot like really, really cool, going back and forth, seeing the whole stage, seeing the dancers in the background, like, oh, whatever. It's just a really fun night, honestly. You guys should absolutely give it a shot.
Cool, man. I'm excited now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Spencer.
Okay, so I guess I'll do two. I haven't seen the Muppets now, but I think you should watch it because you want to support this guy right here.
And his new voice.
And his new voice, which I may or may not accept after watching the episode. But
Wow.
I heard him sing Rainbow Connection, and I was okay with it. But my other one would be a movie that got a lot of hate for absolutely no reason. The live-action Aladdin. I rewatched it the other day, and it was a fairly new addition to Disney Plus, and it's really good. I thought it was really good when I first saw it, and I thought it was really good when I watched it again.
Wow.
And it's a huge bummer that the main actor, Mena Massoud, who plays Aladdin, has yet to get any other roles after playing Aladdin, because I thought he was great, and it's a huge, huge bummer that he's not getting other work. And he hasn't even gotten another audition. It's like a whole story where he talks about like,
really?
I thought this was gonna be my like big break, and I literally have not gotten another audition.
Wow, I did not hear any of that. That's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah, and he's so good as Aladdin. So I actually did like a double header. We watched the night before the animated, and then the next night we watched the live action, and they're different. They're not my biggest issue with like the one I like the least is Beauty and the Beast. Which is interesting because a lot of people love Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson.
That's my favorite of the remakes.
Yeah, a lot of people it is. I just think it's literally shot for shot the same movie, and I don't understand why. And it's like a worse version of the animated movie.
Whereas my least favorite is Lion King.
Oh yeah,
that too. Yeah, same idea though. It's like the same movie. Like there's no point. Because the animated is just better. But with Aladdin, at least they do, for me at least, enough different creative choices that I'm okay with it, and I love the way Agrabah looks. I love how Bollywood inspired the movie is. I think that was a really smart, interesting choice.
It was.
It even ends with a Bollywood dance number where Will Smith is like rapping Friends Like Me. It's just, it's fun. And I think you can tell Will Smith's having the time of his life, and it makes me happy to see Will Smith happy again, post After Earth. I don't know if Will Smith was ever going to forgive himself. So, but they're doing a sequel too. So I would recommend live action Aladdin if you haven't seen it. There's too much hate for a movie that doesn't deserve it. And I know Preston Moore doesn't like it either, but I've wore him down. And I think he accepts it now. Initially, our buddy Preston Moore was not a fan. And I was like, you're wrong. It's great. And then he tweeted something like a month ago. And I like tweeted the SpongeBob emoji where he's like, you like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward? And I said, you like Aladdin, don't you, Preston?
So, Lane, did you watch Aladdin?
No, haven't seen it. In fact, I've only seen part of the original Aladdin.
Oh my god!
Whoa!
You need to fix that ASAP before you watch
Robin Williams. That's a legendary performance.
I did watch Robin Hood recently because you guys were talking about it, so I watched that, and it was good. I liked it.
Huh.
Yeah,
it's definitely
like the beginning with the rooster.
Yeah, it does. Oh yeah, very cool. Very like folk music inspired. I thought that was cool.
Interesting.
And like the way that the narration works. The one thing was like the movie doesn't really have a climax. Like it just kind of ends. And you're like, oh, okay, it's over. And you're like, oh yeah, I guess that was an hour and a half. But yeah, so it doesn't really have a climax, or at least the buildup isn't done very well. But it's still fun to watch. And like the music is a lot of fun. So yeah, I enjoyed it well enough. It was a good hour and a half.
Yeah, so. Well, yeah, my thing with Aladdin, I turned it on one night. I was really looking forward to watching it. I remember you and Kieran loved it when it came out to theaters. Just saying, Kieran, like people know who that is. Anyways,
our friend.
Yeah, there you go. Hopefully, we'll hear more from him soon. But anyways, I just fell asleep watching it at home.
Oh wow!
Literally before Will Smith even got introduced, and then I just never went back to it.
Do you
I
think
just
you were
remember-
tired or you just thought it was boring?
I remember thinking that the one jump, that scene, I was like, it looks like it's on a set. I was like, this doesn't look real. And I really like Guy Ritchie movies. And I was like, this is just not like what I thought it was going to be. Then I fell asleep. But I mean, everybody has said good things about it. And I like Will Smith. So I really should watch that. Maybe that'll be the thing I watch tonight.
You should give it a go, man.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, that's cool because we disagree on a lot of movies.
We all three came out of this episode with new things to watch, apparently.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to end things off there for now since we're super out of time and sort of out of topics. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Disney Deconstructed podcast. And if you'd like to further support our program, go ahead and visit us at anchor.fm/Disney Deconstructed. There you can see a complete list of our podcast distributors, send us messages related to the show, and even sign up to make a monthly donation so that we can keep rolling out these episodes in a timely manner. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at Lane Calder, at Jake Moody 98, and at Spencer Bennett 7. You can also spread the word by telling a friend about our show and help us grow our community of Disney fanatics. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you with more Disney news next week. Writing and producing for this episode of the Disney Deconstructed podcast was done by my two co-hosts, Jake Moody and Spencer Bennett, and myself, Lane Calder. The music for our program was composed by Brandon LaBelle. The font for our logo was designed by Edward Pincava. Our beautiful faces were drawn by Sarah Bermudez. Disney Deconstructed is a proud participant in the Deconstructed Podcast Network, link in the description. Thanks for joining us, folks, and go have yourself a zippity-doo-dah day.
Wiki wiki.